Welcome to this production and operations management tutorial video on production planning using SOLVER. In this video, we're going to show you how to create a production plan using Excel's SOLVER function. Now, assuming you saw the production planning tutorial video where we walked you through the chase, level, and combination production plans, you should be prepared for this tutorial video. For starters, we've taken the level production plan of 14,500 units per quarter, and we will use that as our baseline. However, we want SOLVER to figure out a more cost-effective production plan, how to adjust the hiring and firing of employees and subcontract production and holding of inventory in such a way to lower our cost. In fact, we did our combination production plan without SOLVER and got to $1.176 million. Let's see if SOLVER can beat that cost. And to do so, we're going to bring up Excel's SOLVER. To get to SOLVER, click on the Data tab, and you will see SOLVER in that ribbon. For those that do not have SOLVER there, using a Windows version, I'm using Excel 2016, you would go to the File tab, click on Options, click on Add-ins, and then click on Excel Add-ins, click the Go button there, and then you'll see that in this little window, it asks you which item do you want to add to Excel. You can see SOLVER Add-in is already clicked or selected for me, already checked, so we don't need to add it again. And that's why SOLVER does appear when I click on the Data tab, and there's SOLVER. So we'll bring up SOLVER here. I've already started to input some of the parameters for SOLVER. You'll notice that we select cell H19, which is the total cost, as our objective cell. And we want SOLVER to minimize the cost of that cell, and we want it to do so by changing the number of employees we hire and fire, and then I'm going to hit a comma, and also by our subcontract production. You'll notice that I did not tell SOLVER to change the regular production numbers. Those numbers are formulas. SOLVER cannot change formulas. And these numbers, the regular production numbers, are really a function of the number of employees we have. So as SOLVER hires and fires employees to achieve the lowest cost possible, it will automatically or indirectly or directly change the regular production numbers. So that's why we only select the hired and fired employees and the subcontract production. Those cells are values, and SOLVER can change values. Now we need to add a number of constraints because SOLVER will do funny things if we don't give it its limits or constraints. So for example, we want to tell SOLVER that the subcontract production must be an integer, must be whole numbers. We want to produce whole number units. Also, the number of employees we hire and fire must be integers as well. We can't hire or fire half a person. We also have a constraint in this table here. It says our maximum subcontract production cannot exceed 3,000 units a month. So I'm going to highlight subcontract production across the 4 quarters and say that it must be less than or equal to cell K4, which is the max subcontract production. I will add that as a constraint. Let me see if there's any other constraints. Yes, our ending inventory must be greater than or equal to 0. We will add that as well. Okay, I'm going to click cancel. Oddly enough, that'll take us back to our dialog here. Make sure that your solving method is the simplex linear program, simplex LP. And also check this box that says make unconstrained variables non-negative. So the unconstrained variables are the subcontract production and hiring and firing of employees. And so SOLVER would put large negative numbers in those cells to get a total that is a big negative number or very low. And so we don't want it to do that. We want all the numbers to be positive. So we click on Make Unconstrained Variables Non-Negative. And I think we are ready to go. Again, our production plan cost with the level was 1.1775 million. I think for the combination with Solver, without Solver rather, was 1.176, so slightly below. We'll see if we can beat that. We'll click on Solve. And sure enough, it returned an answer. It tells us Solver found a solution. All constraints and optimality conditions are satisfied. And we click OK. What did it do? Well, it did some hiring, hired one employee, did some subcontract production, held some inventory. You'll notice that the subcontract production never exceeded 3,000, which is a constraint. And the result of all of these adjustments resulted in a total cost of $1.164,500. So $1.1645 million, the lowest cost of all the plans. In fact, we can go to our plans summary tab and we can see our chase, level, combination without Solver, and combination with Solver. So it bested all the plans. And so again, this is a little taste of what a supply chain or operations management or operations planning tool would look like. Usually they're much more sophisticated than the Solver model, but the underlying logic and approach is the same. So I hope this information has been helpful to you and you find it kind of interesting how Solver can do this so quickly and come up with an optimal lowest cost plan.